So Rob, you said there's no other variances for August as of yet, but I mean variance requests, but
Correct. There's one other zoning review letter I sent out, but I haven't heard back from them.
okay. But then the brick house one, do they already have the plans in or?
We're working with them through some changes.
Okay.
It's a complex situation that we can summarize as we move along here before it comes before you.
Good.
All right, Wade, this is Christy. You are welcome to start the meeting.
Okay, thanks, Christy. Thanks everyone for joining us. This is the July 28, 2020 meeting of the Village of Chagrin Falls Board of Zoning Appeals. My name is Wade Frick. I'm the chair of the BZA. Sorry, we're running a few minutes late, but I guess we were just waiting for our attendees to get on online. I've been reminded this is our third virtual meeting of the BZA. It's been pretty seamless. We will follow the same protocol that we follow if we were in person. And again, a special thank you to Christy for the and everyone at Village Hall for helping us through these challenging times. I see a note. George is getting let in. So do we have, Christy, do we have people in the audience already?
We do have George Clemens, Larry Trace, Nancy Rogoff, Stephanie Steinhoff, and Susan Junker. So once
Okay,
you
great.
would like to introduce the project and let me know when you'd like them to join the meeting, I'll let them in.
Sure. Yep. So what we'll do, we only have one item on the agenda, and I think Dale, you like to swear the witnesses in right before they speak, given this virtual platform.
Correct.
So I'll lead with a couple things. One, as I said, we only have one application before us. What we'll do is I'll ask the applicant to present. Well, first I'll ask Rob to give us just the background of why the request is before us and some of the substance of the request. And then I'll ask the applicant to make a presentation. The board will ask questions of the applicant. I'll turn over to audience participation. Generally, we go first with people who would like to speak on behalf of the application, and then anyone who would like to speak in opposition. So anyone who's out there in the virtual world, I want to make sure everyone has an opportunity to speak, and you will be heard. I ask and will remind you, particularly on this platform, if we could have everyone who speaks identify themselves, name and address. It's helpful. We still generate the same minutes that we do even when we're in person. So that would be helpful. And again, we'll remind you if people don't do that. One last thing to the applicant. The BZA has 5 members to it. We found out late today that one of our members, Lisa Kramer, is out of town and in a place where she can't get to join us. I mention this just because by our code, you need 3 out of 5 members voting affirmatively to pass your application. And obviously, when there's only 4 of us, that decreases your odds. So I always give the applicant the option of rolling the dice now, knowing you need at least 3 out of 4 to vote affirmatively, or if you want to defer to the next meeting, although I can't promise you the next meeting won't have absences as well. But I always want to at least point that out, that we only have 4 members today as opposed to 5. So I don't know who's out there, George and your clients. If you want to confer or talk about proceeding, I'll let you do that before we proceed. I don't know, Christy, is there a way that they can communicate with one another, or Dale's, or a thought of how that would happen?
If you can hear me, Wade, we
Yes.
just
This is
conferred
George
by
Clemens
text,
talking.
and we do want to go ahead.
Okay, George, that was George Clemens speaking, and he said the applicant would like to go forward.
Okay.
Okay, so all that being said, then we don't have minutes to approve because they're, I think, a little more difficult to produce and given the platform. So we'll jump right into the first application. which is that of Rob and Susan Junker, 35 Maple Street. First, Rob, if you could give us the background of the application, and then I'll turn it to the law director for swearing in.
Thank you, Wade. This project is at 35 Maple Street, permanent parcel number 932-05003 in the R150 zoning district. This is a house alterations project consisting of removal of a garage door, converting a 3-car garage to a 2-car garage with a mud and laundry room, some window changes, and a new rear deck to replace an existing porch with an overhang. The variance that is before us tonight is to section 114502B, non-conforming buildings and structures and additions, stating that any alterations to a non-conforming building would require a variance. The current building is non-conforming due to 2 factors. The current structure does not meet the rear yard setback requirement of 28 foot 8 inches, which is 30% of the lot depth. The attached garage to the house is only 6 inches from the rear lot line of the property. Also, in the R150 zoning district, there's a requirement for a minimum lot size of 6,000 square foot, and this lot has a square footage of 5,906.63 square feet. So those 2 items make the property non-conforming, and any changes to that would require variance. I do wish to mention that the proposed new rear deck, where it's configured on the house, and I'll show that in the plans as we bring that up, is in conformance with the rear setback line to the rear of the property. So even though the attached garage is not, that already exists, the proposed new deck would be. I do have, just so the applicant knows, I have the plans, your variance application, the review letter, and the ARB minutes that I can show on the screen. I can bring the plans up now, but if you want any of those documents shown and shared with the meeting, let me know and I'll bring that up. Oh, also the Architecture Review Board reviewed this project on July 7th of 2020 and gave their preliminary approval with several design suggestions.
All right, Rob, thank you. Dale, I'll turn it over to you. Do you want to swear in the first witness?
I do. George, by any chance, are you on phone, George, or are you on video?
George is
Yes.
unmuted and I'm promoting him to become a panelist right now, as well as the
Okay.
homeowner.
There you are.
Thank you.
And George, you're going to speak first?
Yes.
Okay. Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you'll give to the Board of Zoning Appeals tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, George, the floor is yours.
Very good. Rob, I guess, yeah, that's perfect. So let me just add to the description, and it might be helpful to go to, if we have well, this is good for the moment. We can go to a photo of that side of the building with which you might be familiar. It's that corner house on Walnut Street. And it has had 3 garage doors. Susan and Rob Junker are doing alterations to the building in order for Susan's parents to move in. And so the goal of this little bit is to give them a good mudroom and a little more first floor functionality in that existing house. And in addition, there's I think probably an old existing deck below an existing overhang. So the second floor hangs out over that entire deck area that's proposed back there. I have to believe there was a deck there at one point that fell off. So we're trying to establish that so that they can also use the house outdoor a little bit without going downstairs and make that steps condition much more safe for them. So specifically, the alterations include the removal of that garage door and the addition of an entry door. You've got the blue color there as though it's a little addition, but it's really just a little roof overhang over the door. So there's nothing coming down to the ground there. There is also a very poorly built little structure on the backside of that same element, and there's faint blue lines there. So that is being altered, and we're taking down, I would call it like a storage doghouse. And there is a new foundation wall there. We're kind of filling in that little area to make it more usable space. So we're not even going as far out as that little doghouse was. We're back about 2 feet from that, but filling in a little notch that was there. So those are really the three components: is the door change on Walnut, the rebuilding of that little piece that's the backside of that knuckle, and then adding the porch, since it has a roof already, but adding that deck back underneath the existing overhang. Maybe Rob, if you could go up to a photo of the Walnut Street side, or the group of photos that's there. I think, yeah, there we go. There's some, we can't quite see them. They're to the left. There we go. So you can see that.
I can zoom in on the photos if you like.
Well, actually, no, actually that's pretty good, because that really gives you a good overview. So that right-hand garage door is turning it into an entry door, but that existing door is turning into a window, which would be from a bathroom now. And the level of that area is being raised to the first floor level. You know, it's down at the garage level now. The two garage doors to the left, that's kind of a separate structure, remains unchanged. And so you can see that on the elevation view there. Then in the rear, if you look at the bottom picture, that's what you've got. I think it's a late 60s, 70s addition above. That's that overhanging piece, which we're not addressing at this time, but we are trying to make the porch underneath the overhang. And in fact, for our final ARB application, we're gonna change the windows under there, get rid of that bay window, and make the windows more appropriate to the house as well, underneath that porch. And then I think the other pictures are just illustrative of the house.
Is that where the deck is going? Where that
Yeah,
overhang is?
that notch, right, Rachel, that notch will have just a floor
Right, okay.
or deck. And you can see that in the 2A3, the top elevation there. Where there's two separated windows, we're combining them for a kitchen window. And then you can see that we're adding the porch floor. So it's minor alterations, really, not what you probably usually see, but it's a non-conforming structure.
Right.
So any alterations to a non-conforming structure fall under your.
Right, none of the footprint at all is really impacted.
Yeah, just in an incredibly minor way within that little notch.
Yeah, that 2 foot, yeah.
But yeah, it's right. Exactly.
Mhm.
On the new door that's going to enter into the mudroom, how far off the side of the house is that that new covered entryway going to stick out, and does that meet the current setbacks?
The overhang is actually dimensioned on that entry roof and bracket, and I'm looking for it. Does it say 3 feet? I'm having a hard time reading it, honestly.
It does meet the side yard setback.
So it's okay, right? There's an exception for architectural appurtenances such as that also for side yards, but I think the exception might be 2 feet. And entry pieces have an exception as well.
Yeah, it's 3 feet. I see it there now.
Yep.
A little hard to read.
It's small, sorry, in this Zoom sharing. And then there's not too much more to this project. But we're open for any questions you might have. Susan is also here, and I believe she's unmuted, but she would have to be sworn in if she were to speak.
Let's start first, questions of the board for George.
Okay, I got one question for George or Rob. Is the house, the lot coverage, does that meet the requirements before and after? Like, I believe it's 24%.
The lot,
We did figure that out. I just have to find that detail.
great, because you'd be helping me out. It might be on our first sheet. We typically put the lot coverage. It's unchanged from what it was, but I'm not sure.
We did look at that and I didn't see it to be a problem. Because it's not changing, like you said.
I mean, pretty much this is a non-conforming building because of the rear yard setback is encroached already and the lot size. But those are the only two reasons it's a non-conforming
Correct.
existing structure. That's what I was trying to get.
Yep, it's really that attached garage projecting all the way through the backyard, because the backyard would be to the left on your screen, the rear yard.
And Rob, what was the lot size? I know 6,000 you said is the requirement.
It was 5,906.63. So
Oh.
it's 93.37 square foot short.
Okay, any other questions of George? All right, is there anybody else out there? I understand the property owner might be on. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of the project or in further support of it?
I have an attendee raising their hand, Stephanie Steinhoff. I will allow to speak. Dale, if you could swear her in, please.
Sure. Can you raise your right hand for me?
Yes.
Okay, I do have can you get your image on?
I'm working on it, just a second.
Okay.
Hi. Yes. Oh, I'm raising my right.
Yeah, in a minute we'll get you, it sounds like. Do you, we can hear you, we just can't see you yet.
I don't know.
Can you, are you on an iPad or a
Okay.
computer?
Yeah,
There you
no,
go.
I think
There
I'm,
she is.
Now we got you. Okay, so you
Hi.
raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you'll give to the Board of Zoning Appeals tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Stephanie,
We
could you give us your full name and address, please, for our minutes?
Stephanie Steinhoff, and I am the homeowner at 103 Walnut Street, which faces these 3 garages currently. And we're just speaking in favor of the project. There's obviously no change besides it becoming a door instead of the 3-car garage going down to a 2-car garage. And they've obviously done a lovely job with the house existing next door on Walnut. So I just wanted to speak in favor of the project.
Good, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate your voice. Thank you.
No problem.
Is there anybody else online who would like to speak in favor of the application?
Hey guys, it's the homeowner Susan Junker. I'm here if you wanted to hear from us.
It's really your decision. You can speak if you'd like. I can also ask if anyone has any questions. I guess Susan needs to be sworn in, Dale.
I forgot to unmute myself. Susan, can you raise your right hand, please?
Yes, sir.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you'll give to the Board of Zoning Appeals will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
So Susan, is there anything you want to add before I just ask people if they have questions for you?
No, I just wanted to thank everyone for their time and considering our project.
Great. Well, thank you. Thanks for appearing. Does anybody have any questions of Susan?
No, but I do have, well, I Susan or George can answer this. What's the plan for the existing driveway? Are you going to keep the same size or are you going to shrink it now that you're losing that garage door?
Susan, do you have a
Yeah.
plan to cut that back? I
We
assume you
haven't
were, but
talked about it yet. I think, honestly, we're just trying to, I guess, address it, and then we'll probably end up doing some plantings and things there. So no, I don't have a plan just yet.
Okay.
Any other questions for Susan? All right, Susan, thank you very much. At this time, I'll ask, is there anybody online who would like to speak in opposition or has questions that haven't been asked? So Christy, I guess I'll ask you to see if anyone is raising their hand.
No attendees are wanting to speak at this time.
Okay, well, one last shot. If everybody's spoken their piece, we're good to proceed. So one last opportunity. Any final questions, thoughts?
we feel this is relatively uncontroversial, so I think we're comfortable going ahead and to proceeding to a vote with the 4 panel members. And yeah, I'd like to thank you as well for your time.
All right, George, thank you. The board, I will entertain a motion then. And the way we do this is we always take a motion in the affirmative and then we'll vote yes or no on that motion. So who's doing the motion? Is that Jim? Is that you tonight?
Yes. So yeah, I would like to make a motion to approve a variance to section 114502B for 35 Maple Street. The variance is because this house is a non-conforming house, so any alterations need to bring the house within code. And although they're doing many alterations to improve this house, after the alterations are done, this still will be in violation of our code, specifically the 30% of the rear yard, or the rear yard depth the rear yard setback needs to be 30% of the depth, which is 28 feet 6 inches, and the actual is 6 inches, so it's a 28-foot variance. And then also the lot requirement for this R150 is 6,000 square feet, and the lot is 5,906. So both of those are out of spec, I guess. And so with these alterations, they still will be. So as the applicant said, that all these alterations will not actually be further out of variance, out of it's just the footprint will not change. These are just improvements. So as far as the Duncan factors, I don't believe the property in question, I do believe the property in question will still yield a reasonable return. I do not feel the variance is substantial, although 28 feet on a 28.5 foot setback is substantial. I think because the granting this variance will not make it any worse. Therefore, I don't think this variance is substantial. The essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered in the positive. I think this will improve the look of the house. The delivery of governmental services will not be adversely affected. The property owner did purchase the property with the knowledge of the zoning restrictions. But the property owner's predicament cannot be obviated through any other method other than a variance. And I believe the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement would be observed and substantial justice done by granting this variance. And lastly, the variance is not based on circumstances that are self-created by the applicant. For all these reasons, I make the motion to grant the variance to 114502B.
All right, thanks, Jim. Is there a second?
I second.
Is that Rachel?
Yep.
Okay. Roll call, please, Rob.
Frick,
I vote aye for all the reasons of the motion, and I find most compelling the fact that the existing footprint will not be modified or will not be made larger at all. But I would vote aye.
Holdren,
I vote aye for all the reasons stated.
Rocky,
I vote aye, especially because I think in the grand scheme of things that it's gonna increase the character of the neighborhood, because they are going to be able to shrink that driveway, and it's going to create more green space and all the rest of the reasons stated.
and Freshman Johnson.
I vote aye for the reasons stated in the motion.
Okay, so the motion is passed 4-0. What happens now is council has 15 days to, if 3 members of council wished to rehear or hear this application before council, they could file a whatever it is, a motion or whatever they file within 15 days. So the bottom line is nothing will happen for 15 days. If 15 days have come and gone and there's been no appeal taken by council, then the variance will be considered granted and you can act on it. And Rob will let you know when that has happened. So wait 15 days, and if nothing goes before council, you will have your variance granted and Rob will let you know. Okay,
Great,
question?
thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Good luck to you.
I appreciate it.
There's nothing else on our agenda, although we did talk about entertaining a motion perhaps to move the August meeting currently scheduled for August 25 to August 18. I said that works better for my schedule, but everyone else, any other thoughts?
That's fine.
18th works for Andrew, 18th Jim.
Yep.
Rachel.
Checking, but yes.
Okay, and we'll just have to hope it works for Lisa. So do we want a motion to move the meeting to the 18th?
I'll make a motion to move the 18th or the meeting 1 week prior to August 18th, 2020.
I assume we need a second and a vote on that, Dale?
Yeah.
I'll second the motion.
Yes.
Okay,
Rachel will
roll.
second the motion.
Okay, Holdren,
Aye.
Rocky,
Aye.
Freshman Johnson,
Aye.
Rick.
Aye. Okay, is there anything else anybody has?
Is it at 7:30?
7:30.
Yes.
Christy, again, thank you for the technology and all the other goodies you provide us with here. Dale, thank you. Rob, thank you. Harry, thank you. Everyone stay safe, stay healthy. And we'll see you all on August 18.
Thank you.
All right,
Later. Have a great evening.
we're
Thanks,
adjourned.
Oh.
Thanks,
Okay.
everybody.
Thank you.